Well, hello there. How you doing, ballers? This is Jacqueline, and this is my podcast, Chesticles. I call it Chesticles because I have brass balls. I always have. I was born that way. Well, I'm going to get right into it as I always do. No reason for fluff and pomp and circumstance, but I want to tell you, you know what triggers me? Oh my God. The word trigger. It triggers me. It really does. I'm not even kidding. The word trigger triggers me. Okay, that this is how, I don't know. This is how I think. I'm afraid of guns, okay? So, and I'll tell you why. When I was very young, 4ish, something like that, my mom used to sleep with a gun under her pillow. And I did not know that, and I'm glad I didn't know that, but I remember one morning going to wake her up, and you know how you go in when you're a kid, and I know my kids did this too, and they, Mommy, and then it's like, oh, it's so cute. Well, I went in, and I went to wake her up, and I'm like, Mommy, and I was hugging her, and she was just coming awake, and I guess I slid my hand under her pillow to hug her. And I found something in there. It was hard. And of course I pulled it out and I was pointing a gun right at my mother's face. That scared the shit out of me. And I still remember her face because the gun wasn't on safety. Anyway, it's a horrible story to start off with, but I'm telling you, I was thinking of these words that are around now. Trigger, and trigger triggers me because trigger makes me think of guns and guns make me think of that, and it was not a good thing, but I respect guns, and I respect that Americans have the right to have a gun, and I believe that, guns should be for protection. I'm just personally afraid of them because of that situation. So I never touched a gun. Oh, that's not true. I had a friend show me their gun. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. And they're like, well, you can touch it. I'm like, no, thanks. No, thanks. I'm good. No, you really should be comfortable. I touched it oh, okay, this is great. But it's such an uncomfortable feeling for me. That I'm personally afraid of them. Anyway, but that word trigger just triggers me. There's a lot of words that I'm learning, even the word woke. I think I know what it means. If woke means we should all accept each other for who we are, and as long as no one's getting hurt, what difference does it make what anybody does or who they love or what color they are? If that is woke, then that's, believe that. But it seems like there's so much fighting about this woke thing, and I don't know why. And I'm not smart enough to figure out why everybody's fighting all the time about everything. I stopped using social media because it was so upsetting to read people always fighting over strangers, I did it too. I'm not saying people, when I say people, I'm a person too, and I want to respect other people's rights to be whoever they want to be and pursue their own happiness. And thank God I wasn't raised to hate other people because they were different. I wasn't raised that way. My dad was the kind of guy who, I told you my dad is like Joe Pesci. He really is. He was just, but he was also, he had a heart of gold. He had a bad side. Believe me, he did. But he had a heart of gold. He'd bring home stray cats. He hated cats. At one point in our house, he brought this stray home, and the stray got pregnant and her name was Wanda. And she was a black cat. And I loved Wanda, but she was an older cat, but, he felt bad for her because, remember I told you he used to work at the shipyard in Philadelphia as a lunch truck driver, which there's a whole definition of what it takes to be a lunch truck driver. There's a whole set of standards that you have to have, and being on time and being friendly and being caring to everyone, that's all part of being a lunch truck driver. That's what my dad taught me. Back then, he would even bring home children. Now, I know that sounds like a horrible thing because you can't do stuff like that. But he said he would be driving home from work and he'd see little kids roaming the streets, looking hungry and dirty. And he'd say, "Yo, bud, what's going on?" And I don't know where my parents are, and you got anything I can eat? And he would feed them, and sometimes he would bring them home. And they'd stay with us for a couple days. My mom would get them clothes, and now you can't do anything like that now because that would be kidnapping. But I witnessed this, and it wasn't. It was my dad being a kind soul who could not stand to see anyone suffering, especially not a child. So I really believe there's no mistake I got into dentistry, because I'm the same way. I can't stand to see people suffer. I'm in the Novocaine business, you know what I'm talking about? Or I was. I just can't stand to see anyone suffer. It's like, oh, thank God for Novocaine. I wish that we could put Novocaine in people's hearts, to numb pain that they have. And so I have such gratification of people who do have pain, and then they, in the dental field, I'm talking about at this time, and then they come in and they have a toothache and they're in pain, and we give them Novocaine and just watch their whole face like, oh, thank you, like it's a good feeling. But that's just how I was raised, and I don't know why everybody has to be segregated. I guess it's just it's in our DNA. I guess it's survival. It's been going on since the beginning of time. You have to fight for your right. But the only right I just think we all have the right to be happy, and I think people have the right to do whatever they want to do, as long as nobody's being hurt. Like, why is everybody so angry all the time, And I think that's one of the reasons I really wanted to do this podcast, because I want people to laugh. Life is so hard, and I just want people to laugh and have fun and enjoy it, and there's just nothing better than a group of people laughing, right? Really, besides a group of children laughing, that's even better. But any kind of happiness is just this natural high. It's just like, wow, life is hard for everyone. And it deals you some cards that you didn't even know were in the frickin' deck. And so when you have the opportunity to laugh and have fun and enjoy, gosh, take advantage of that. I don't know, I'm feeling a little deep and emotional today. I don't know why. I just woke up this way. I'm feeling grateful is really what it is, I think. I'm grateful that I'm able to do this. I'm grateful that I still have freedom, and I'm grateful that I have my children who are turned out to be some of the greatest human beings. I'm just, man, if you're a parent, you understand what I mean. When your kid turns out to be a rock star, oh God, you just feel like you did your job. You did your job right. And it feels good, because that's why I was put on this earth, is to be, to be their rock and their support. And seeing them deal with their own struggles and get through them, and they both, just hearts of gold, just really good. And it makes me think about my dad, who wasn't really a great dad. And I've told him this before he died. We had come to terms with it. My dad was an alcoholic, a very wonderful, funny character, Joe Pesci type person. Really funny, and just, when he was on, man, there was nothing like it. He lit up a room. He really did. He was a good-looking guy, and he was funny, and he just always made everyone feel so loved, Just never met a stranger, my dad. But, when he was drinking, and it was bad drinking, he was some of the most horrible, evil things you can imagine. And, domestically. And it was not good. It was not good. But we all have our stuff, right? And the good thing about my dad is he quit drinking long before he died. So I got to know the real him. And the older he got, the less Joe Pesci he got. The more repetitive he got. And I notice myself as I'm getting older, I'm repeating myself over and over. Now, purposely, I'm doing this on the podcast because I know that everybody doesn't listen to every single podcast. So I don't want to refer to something that I've said in a previous episode that you don't know what I'm talking about. So I do that on purpose. However, I do tend to repeat myself over and over, especially like when I used to drink a lot, like not alcoholic drink, but just like party drink. I just repeat myself over and over again. How annoying. I mean, I'm a fun drunk. Luckily, I didn't pick up my dad's evil side of drinking, but I don't really drink anymore. It doesn't do it for me. I don't know. It's just not as fun as it used to be. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about today is I want to keep doing these podcasts because I want to have I wish I had this of my parents to look back and hear stories and laugh and, things like that. And I want my family to have that and my future, grandchildren and whoever. I want them to have that if they want it. And I don't really promote this or do anything because I really just want to be able to tell my story without, like I told you, I had started to write a book. And I still have pages and pages and pages. And a lot of the stories in the book are things I'm going to be telling you throughout, these podcasts. And it was just so easy to do it this way because I could just talk, and I'm a better talker than a writer. But even with my book, I recorded all my stories, and then I was just going to rewrite them. Anyway, I digress. But I wanted to tell you, I always admire, I'm very fortunate. I have a great family. I mean, just, oh my word, my sisters, my nieces, my nephews, my great nieces and nephews. Oh, gosh, I'm lucky. Good people, just good people, good hearts. Every single one of them. And I have a big family, so I'm very grateful for that. And I also have a very great group of friends. And I don't know if I ever did this consciously or it just kind of happened, but I tend to surround myself with people who I want to be more like, like people I admire. And I have a friend who, do you ever meet people that just do everything they say they're going to do? Well, that's this friend. She amazes me, and she always has. I've known her since grade school, okay? And she's one of these people. She's funny, and, she tells a great story. She's just amusing. She's kind, and, but she's real, too, But, we used to smoke cigarettes back in the day, and this friend, she said, I'm going to quit. This is no good for me. I'm going to quit. I'm like, yeah, I said that a million times, and I don't smoke anymore, but I did. But it took a long time, years of quitting and going back and quitting and going back, And so she said she was going to quit, and I'm like, yeah, we'll see about that, because it's not that easy. But then she did. And I was like, huh. She's just one of those rare beings. And then I remember, I believe she was in college, and she said, I'm going to take an aerobics class. And I was like, oh, that's fun. I do aerobics. I love aerobics. It's so much fun. And, And then I said, yeah, I stopped because, And she kept going. I mean, here we are 40 years later, and she's still she's not just she teaches. She's amazing. I mean, really, like, I respect her so much because she's one of those people that just, if she says she's going to do it, she'll do it. Her house is always clean. She's very organized. She's on the ball. And she raised her and her husband raised 3 children that are just the same. Just they do what they say they're going to do, and they have succeeded immensely. I mean, just really, really like those kind of kids, just done wonderful things in sports that are the sports. I don't want to say what it is because I'm trying to be careful not to use anybody's name or anything. I mean, I know the person listening will know who she is, but I want to be very respectful of other people's privacy. But just, God, and I always admired that about her. And, I remember a particular conversation. I used to be pro-choice throughout my life, even though I was born and raised Catholic. I just, fortunately never had to make that decision, but I always felt, that it was a woman's body and she had the right to it. And she and I went out and over drinks in our very young years, like right out of college for her, those years, we were out and we were having dinner and we started to talk about it. But she's the kind of person that you could talk to it about, but not have an argument about it. Like, she was 100% pro-life and I was 100% pro-choice, and that's the way it was. And they just accept each other's differences. But we started to talk about it. And we were so different, but just discussing it in a civil way, I became pro-life. And then now that, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with people who are pro-choice. Please do not flip my script. I'm telling you how this is for me because I'm telling my story. These are my feelings, okay? Please don't do that. The point of the story is that she really, a lot can be accomplished by talking to someone you admire and respect and learn from. And I love doing that. I love friends like that and people like that, and she's just such a good friend because she's just reliable, accountable. And I guess I admire it so much because I'm not so reliable and accountable. I always say I'm going to do something and then I never do it. I mean, not always, but other than my job and raising my children, there's nothing I was really consistent with. But as I say that, today I am going to go to the Y because it has been way too long since I've done any kind of serious exercise. I stretch and I do some yoga poses and do little things. And yesterday I actually went for a walk now that the weather's getting nicer. It was such a beautiful day. But, I'm getting older. My body's falling apart and I need to take care of myself, and I need to take care of, building my muscles and also for my mind, because I've been pretty melancholy and I don't want to be that way because I want to be funny and I want to have fun. So, I'm going to go to the Y today, and I am going to baby steps because I'm not trying to break a hip over here, but I definitely want to start to just get stronger. I really just want to get stronger mentally and physically. I think of her because she literally said, I'm going to do an aerobics class, and then she never quit. She said she was not going to be a smoker, and she wasn't. And, I have a lot of friends like that. Just, oh, man, they're just such good, do what they say kind of people. And I never was really like that. I'm more chaos. And there's a good thing to be, able to survive and live in chaos. I mean, there is something to be said for that. And I know that oftentimes if you're a child of an alcoholic, you tend to thrive in that environment because you're used to it. It's just all you know is chaos and, things like that. But the people that say what they're going to do, I just love that. I love that I admire it. And I have a lot of friends who are like that. So I'm very fortunate to be surrounded by those types of people. I know this isn't so funny today, but it is still my story, and I wanted to share it with you. And I'll let you know how I make out at the Y. If I break a hip, I'll still have them bring my phone, my phone to make sure that I can record and let you know what happened. But here I go, baby steps, right? Have a wonderful day. Admire the people you admire and love and enjoy it. Make yourself happy. Do something today to make yourself happy. Something you enjoy. And if it's making other people miserable, don't do that. Don't do that. That's not what I'm talking about. Well, thank you for listening. I hope you have an absolutely fabulous day today. And I'll let you know how it goes. Wish me luck. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.